with every twist and turn of engineering excellence. The very composition of a renowned legacy reverberates through the roar of the engine and the thrill of adrenaline gripped behind the wheel. For years, the human expression of creative skill and imagination acquired from the brilliance of automotive architect Enzo Ferrari has prevailed. Interpretation, meaning, purpose. The very glimpse of Cavallino Rampante is a statement that bears emotive power. It's a cause to dream, a push to achieve, an inspiration for excellence. After all, only those who dare truly live.
Each summer, California's Monterey Peninsula becomes the center of the automotive universe with the arrival of Car Week, anchored by the granddaddy of all classic car shows, the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. And so there could be no more fitting place to celebrate the cars that are synonymous with innovative design, breathtaking performance, and unmatched desirability. Ferrari. It's all happening here at Concorso Ferrari 2021, and you've got a front row seat as we pay tribute to the long history of Ferrari creations for the street and the racetrack. Hello everybody, I'm Bob Varsha, alongside my old colleague, champion racing driver, and tomorrow co-host of a live stream of the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, Justin Bell. But that is tomorrow. Today is all about Ferrari, and it's great to be back at Casa Ferrari, Justin.
It's unbelievable to actually sit here as we realizing that behind us is one of the most extraordinary cars ever built, and we look at Ferrari's new offering, and that's the backdrop. Normally we're used to just dirty racetracks, and then looking out in front of us, awaiting the arrival of some of the most incredible cars in the world. So I feel very privileged to be here, and just seeing everybody at Casa Ferrari enjoying the experience, you know you're in the place to be.
Absolutely. Now in the next hour, we'll talk with some Ferrari company executives, some car owners. We'll witness a parade of some 80 vehicles tracing Ferrari's design heritage from the earliest days up into the most contemporary designs, including the Icona Monza, wait till you see that car, and the one Justin just mentioned, the new 296 GT Berlinetta plug-in hybrid, a first for Ferrari. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Justin, everybody has their own reason for following Ferrari and the brand of the prancing horse. I know in your case, it's a family tradition.
Yeah, like I guess a lot of people that are here at Pebble Beach, it probably started with either your grandfather or your father. For me, my dad, Derek Bell, I mean, in 1969, he raced at Ferrari in the 512. It was his first sports car race for Ferrari. Then he went to Formula One for Ferrari and finished sixth just up, on the East Coast at Watkins Glen in the US Grand Prix. So, I mean, I know that was a significant part of his life. So when I started racing, I was just 17, doing Formula Ford. He said, you know what? He knew Enzo's health was deteriorating, and he said, why don't we go to Italy? I was like, absolutely. And so we get to the factory, and it was quite an extraordinary experience because we went into the workshop where you saw his signature from 20 years before on one of the little tiles in the workshop. Mechanics greeting him like he had he'd just left the factory team the day before. And then we went in and we went in to see Mr. Ferrari, and he said, listen, everyone says he doesn't speak English, but I know he understands a lot more than you say. So we went in, and it was incredible. The room was dark. It was like a scene out of a movie, and there was this huge crystal Ferrari prancing horse head on his desk, and he sat there and he asked me through his translator, what are your goals? I hear you're racing. And I said, well, Mr. Ferrari, I just started racing in Formula Ford, and my father was the last British driver to race for Ferrari, and I want to be the next. And he just looked at me and he said, bene, tutto bene. And he gave me a tie that unfortunately I couldn't find for today because it's in England, and a key fob, which I still have to this day. And that dream didn't come true for me, but I tell you what, it sparked this passion and this admiration for the brand that I think everybody has all the way through.
You know, your father, with whom I worked in television on many occasions covering sports car racing, Formula One and whatnot, told me a very similar story about you meeting Enzo Ferrari. And when you told the Commendatore, I want to be a Ferrari driver someday. According to your dad, he said, we're watching.
Yes, I know. That was my dad's wishful thinking, I think. But, you know, I do understand, as, you know, we're here, we're looking around Casa Ferrari, we can feel the emotion, and just being this close to the car behind you, you understand why any Formula One driver, and we see it time and time again, if they get the chance to wear the red suit, they will leave sometimes more competitive teams to go over there, because it is every young man and woman's dream to get behind the wheel of the prancing horse Formula One car.
No question about it. Now, we should mention the third member of our live stream team, Johnny Lieberman, the senior features editor for Motor Trend, is in the parade of cars who will be arriving here shortly, we hope. This is live, folks. And we should point out that the parade that we will witness was originally meant to contain about 40, 45 cars. But the response was so great that the field is now in excess of 80 cars. They'll be out on the first fairway here at the legendary Pebble Beach golf links, and it will be something special, I guarantee it. So we'll look for Johnny when he gets down here. He is going to make the most dramatic entrance to our live stream. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the cars we're going to see and what ones you might be looking for in particular, Justin.
Well, it's so difficult, because when you and I were looking through that list, what did I say? It was an embarrassment of riches. It's like, how do you stand with all these
There's
incredible
85 Ferraris.
85 amazing cars. My first car that I really was drawn to was I've always thought the Testarossas were extraordinary, and the 1959 Ferrari 250 Testarossa, that will be out there. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And actually, I thought about that car yesterday. We'll get to it in a minute. When I drove at the track yesterday, I thought about the silhouette of that car. A 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB, because it was one of the cars that when I was growing up, Dad actually got one, and a wonderful story. We actually drove from London to Modena in that Ferrari with my sister and I on the parcel shelf. It is not a rear seat. We were definitely not up to modern safety standards. And we were nestled as 2-year-olds in the ski jackets in the back. And he said we used to do he did 175 miles an hour on the Autostrada, and we were all asleep. So that's a pretty special memory for me with that car. And of course, a car that I think evoked that the magical power and energy of those 70s sports cars is, of course, the 1979 Ferrari 512 BBLM. And I also, once upon a time, had the chance to buy one, which, as in, I had the chance but no money. And so it's stuck in my claw since then. And I just love the raw, visceral power of that car. So I'm looking forward to seeing those when they pull up. What about you?
I agree, absolutely. It's a surfeit of riches, a target-rich opportunity. You know, there's a 250 GTO out there from 1964, and when you see one of those very, very, very special Ferraris, well, you just have to pick it. But I'm also more of a modern technology guy, so I'm going to be looking for one of the new Icona Ferrari Monza SP1 or SP2. I'll take either one. That's the number of seats in the cars, and Johnny Lieberman will be driving one. But I could not pass up the 1960 Ferrari 250 California Spider. You may remember the car for its starring role in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There's a beautiful one here, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And of course, 2016, the definitive Ferrari, La Ferrari, with all sorts of Formula One technology, an absolutely fabulous car. That and so much more when those 80 Ferraris roll up. You won't want to miss that. And now let's join JB, who has stepped over to give us an overview of Casa Ferrari here at Pebble Beach.
Well, I'm just in one of the buildings adjacent to Casa Ferrari, still part of the incredible executive VIP hospitality here. And I guess this is where you come when you have just about to order your new Ferrari, and it gives you the opportunity to create the car of your dreams in the specifications of your fantasies. And I mean, just look around. Even the models here, you can see, Bob, it's just the paintwork. You can choose every type of leather, carbon fiber detail, Alcantara. I mean, it is just extraordinary. You see, I mean, some of the classic Ferraris, leather and suede down there. To me, this is where I imagine the modern day technology, being able to virtually build your car, must be one of the most exciting parts about it. And certainly when I saw all the Monzas out there yesterday, which we'll see in a minute, you saw every kind of color and graphics. You've never seen anything like it. So inside, I know there's all these swatches of leather you can probably see in there. It's this is what makes Ferrari truly amazing. So Ferrari at Casa Ferrari are not just allowing their guests and owners to eat well, drink well, and enjoy the spectacle of the new cars and old cars out on the lawn. They're also giving them a chance to sort of see their imagination come to fruition in here. When we come back in a few minutes from this next interview, I'm going to be inside Casa Ferrari, where I'm going to give you the full tour, because that's where the food is. Bob?
All right, thanks, JB. A little later, he'll take you inside Casa Ferrari to give you a sense of, well, it comes down to this. It's Ferrari. It's not just a car, it's a lifestyle. And no one knows that better than the gentleman who is joining me now. Mateo Torre is the president of Ferrari North America. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us, Mateo.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, and welcome to Casa Ferrari.
Thank you very much. I suppose it's especially poignant this weekend being the 33rd anniversary of the passing of Enzo Ferrari on this very day back in 1988.
Correct.
Does that add a little special feeling to you and your staff as you prepare for this year's Pebble Beach?
Definitely, and it's an important moment. Enzo Ferrari has been the founder of the company. Is what Ferrari is today is definitely owed to him. So it's a day that we want to remember. I wanted to remember it in a moment, in a place that we have very close to our heart, because Pebble Beach is a part of the Ferrari history, especially in this country.
Ferrari has a long history here. Pebble Beach began in 1950, and in 1951, Ferrari was here in force, including winning the key event that took place on this weekend, which was the Pebble Beach road races out through the Del Monte Forest. And then the Concours d'Elegance. Ferrari's been very successful there. How important has Car Week here on the Monterey Peninsula been to Ferrari as a company?
We have a very long tradition at Ferrari of road races, and we have been successful at Pebble Beach 70 years ago in '51, but we have also been successful in many other races that you are very familiar with, for example, the Targa Florio in Sicily, the Mille Miglia in Italy. So having the pleasure of driving our cars on the road, on the track, and being successful is what our DNA is. Being at Pebble Beach, it has an opportunity to remind us ourselves our glorious past, so with all these beautiful cars that are coming from our past, but also is a moment where we regroup also to inspire the car of our future.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of cars of the future, I'd like to ask you about that beauty sitting on the stage behind us, the 296 GTB plug-in hybrid, the first for Ferrari. What does that car represent for you?
It's a completely new take for Ferrari. It's a car that, as you said, has a plug-in hybrid powertrain. So we have a thermic engine plus a motor that is powered by a battery. But what is important to remember of this car, apart the beauty of the design, the exceptional powertrain that delivers at 830 horsepower, is that this car has been designed to deliver great pleasure of driving and great fun when you drive it. So the fact that the car has a shorter wheelbase gives the car a lot of agility, it's very nimble, it's very responsive, it's a very crispy car when you drive it, and I'm sure that as soon as you have the opportunity to test it and drive it, you will love this car.
It's been a very difficult year for everyone, and certainly people in the car industry. How has Ferrari done through the pandemic that we continue to be dealing with?
It has been a period of changes. Clearly has not been an easy period, but what we have done during the period that makes us even stronger is that we stay close to our people, we stay close to our clients, we stay close to our fans. So our ability to remain connected and the importance that the people is around Ferrari and within Ferrari as for us is the key of the success of Ferrari today.
Well, that's great to hear. Once again, thank you so much for all you've done for all of the fans of Ferrari and all of the fans generally here at Pebble Beach. Mateo Torre, President of Ferrari North America. Thank you very
Bob.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
And now let's go back to JB.
Well, as soon as the Ferrari guests enter into Casa Ferrari, they know they're in the right place. Just look at the beauty and the attention to detail is so classically Ferrari. I just wanted to give you a little tour because, believe me, it's very privileged to be in here. And I think in a minute they'll probably want me to leave even. But come this way with me. Now, Ferrari, as you know, excel with their cars, the style, the design, and the engineering and everything. But when it comes to the branded, the merchandise, obviously it's been pretty much a secondary thing for decades. But now they've made an absolute initiative to create a product range. They brought over one of the former designers from Armani, and they have decided to, and it's a brilliant blend of fashion, art, and design, and also the latest in style, to allow a product range which really does embody with all the qualities that Ferrari has. So, I mean, just an absolute great thing, and I'm sure they'll do very well with that. That's what happens is you just walk in the door, and then come with me this way. They have all sorts of partners like jewelry. They have their Misahara jewelry right now. I'm sure the gentlemen love walking through the door, and their wives immediately get to that part. And in here, fine food and dining is very much a part of Ferrari lifestyle. As a vegetarian now, I almost have tears in my eyes when I see the quality of the prosciutto being come off right. Oh, look at that. It really does bring tears to my eyes. This is how they do what they do here. And then I'd love to introduce you to the mastermind chef of the whole weekend here at Casa Ferrari. Let's head over here to Chef Michael. Everybody is in here enjoying themselves, but here is my friend. How are you, Chef? Nice to see you, Executive Chef Michaela. Here, would you like one of those? There you are, madam. I'm doubling up on my job right now. So let's just, I am so here to, just tell me what it's like, the responsibility to bring Italy into America at Pebble Beach through your food.
Well, it translates in a word that is the honor. It's the passion. It's sharing, as we did with our chat about the ingredients. It's bringing all the values, but it's also bringing what we call being a family. So that's, I feel the answer is an honor.
It's an honor. Well, it'll be an honor to eat some after this show. And obviously, when we walk outside here, you can see all the guests enjoying it and waiting for the cars to make their way. Bob, I may or may not join you back on the stage. Depends if I can get a plate of that prosciutto.
I am astonished, Justin. I had no idea you were vegetarian. Learn something new every day. Well, moments ago, you heard Ferrari North America President, Mr. Ferro, tell me, or Mr. Torre, I should point out, Ferrari has had a long experience here at Pebble Beach. And as I mentioned, Pebble Beach began as a road race in the Del Monte Forest behind us. And the Concours d'Elegance was simply an add-on. Those were the heady days of sports car racing. They lasted only from 1950 to 1956. A Ferrari won the last 5 of those Pebble Beach road races. And in 1950, the very first one was won by Phil Hill, who of course went on to become a Ferrari factory driver and the 1961 Formula One world champion. So let's say Ferrari actually won another on top of those 5 straight, before the races moved across the peninsula to what is now WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. At the Concours d'Elegance, Ferrari has won some 20 class titles and a Best of Show, the most prestigious honor in Concours history, in 2014, when a 1954 Ferrari 375 Mille Miglia Scariette Coupe picked up that all-important Best of Show. We could talk for a long time about all that Ferrari has achieved here during Car Week on the Monterey Peninsula. Heaven knows how many Ferraris are actually here in one guise or another, including parked down on Main Street in Carmel.
And that's the incredible thing about this. It is probably a leveler for a lot of people when they turn up here and you realize that irrespective of who you are, what you are in life, when you get here, I think you become a car fan all over again. It doesn't matter what car you own yourself, because there's always something else to lust after, to aspire to. But when it comes to Ferrari, it seems to be that the whole peninsula is covered in red this weekend.
Yes, indeed. Red or fly yellow
yellow.
or any number
Or
of,
ruby
of
red, yeah.
colors. Yes,
Yeah.
they're all fabulous cars. Now we await an update on the progress of our parade of fabulous vintage Ferraris that'll be making their way here to the first fairway. All has been made ready for them, and when they get here, Justin will be out there to meet our Johnny Lieberman, who is driving one of the Icona Monzas, one of the newest Ferraris. Its introduction delayed a little bit by the pandemic, but it is absolutely a fabulous car, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I first saw the photographs of it, I was like, I couldn't get a sense of its perspective from the photographs. And it was when I saw running footage of it, I started to realize what an incredible car it was. And then when you actually see it in the flesh, it kind of takes your breath away. And yesterday morning, I will tell you why I was there, but we had the opportunity to go out, and this is the largest gathering of Monzas ever in one place, well over 30 of them. And like I just alluded to when I was showing you the paints and the samples and things, the owners have really taken amazing liberties with these to enjoy, almost put some of their fantasy paintwork together on a car because it is so special. And just to see the SP1s, the SP2s out there, I mean, honestly, it was mystical as literally the mist was hanging there, and I did truly feel very, very honored. It was very special. But what about Ferrari at that track? I mean, we've seen some extraordinary races in GT racing with Ferraris at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and of course, so it's kind of fitting to see the cars out there.
Well, that's what Ferrari was all about, was racing. It's often been said, Ferrari built street cars to finance the racing.
Yeah, that's true.
And an interesting thing about that Monza, I saw a blurb recently. A British car website declared the Ferrari SP1 and SP2 the most beautiful car ever.
Yeah.
It's using a formula that I had never heard of called the golden ratio. This formula has mathematically been around for centuries, putting in variables and coming up with a number that indicates
Exactly, well,
the
it's almost
proportions
pure.
of the car, right? The balance, the length, width, what have you. I had never heard of the golden ratio before, but when all was said and done, 4 Ferraris were in the top 10 all-time cars. I'll let you guess about what the other cars might have been, but topping them all was the Ferrari SP1.
You can obviously tell that Bob and I are not mathematicians because we didn't know about that, but it does make sense when you look at it and you see it in person as we're about to when they pull up here. But yesterday morning, very early, I got the chance to go out to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca and have the amazing opportunity to get behind the wheel of one of these cars along with all those very amazing group of owners, such great camaraderie and friendship amongst them all. It was very special, so check this out. Well, not a lot gets me out of bed before 5:30 in the morning other than the promise of driving something fast. Here at Laguna Seca this morning, I have a truly unique experience. As you can see, some of the most incredible cars in the world. These are the Ferrari Monzas. They're stunning, unique, spectacular cars that really embody the best of Ferrari. That spirit of driving, of passion, of being connected to the road. It's sinewy, it's elegant, it's very visceral, and it has a connection to the true essence of Ferrari DNA. The best part is, I have the keys to this one. Woo! That is a V12 with over 800 horsepower. Here we are at the top of the corkscrew, second gear, tuck it in left, tuck it in right, go through, snatch another gear, woo! The Monza is a sublime driving machine. They embody the best of what Ferrari is all about. It connects you to the driving pleasure in a way that nothing else has. Jealous?
I hate you.
Yeah, you should do.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I want to point out, when he said we had a chance to go out, I didn't have a chance.
No, absolutely zero, Bob. But one of us, there's always someone that has to do all the hard work, and that's you. It was a truly amazing experience. And I'll tell you, I mean, for those of you, like most of us, that won't get the chance to drive this car, when I got inside it, I sunk down into that cockpit, and it has this carbon fiber divider between you and the passenger, which is fabulously antisocial because they're the other side of it, and it's all about you know the Ferrari steering with all the adjustments for all the traction controls and all the active settings, and then you sit there and you have this other console that comes down here, all within fingertips. And when we race cars, obviously when you have a helmet on, you've got to instinctively know where the buttons are and where all the controls are. And that's really what you have to do when you're in the Monza. You instinctively find your natural layout. It's very ergonomically friendly to the driver. But a funny story is that wasn't my race helmet, as you could tell, so I grabbed a helmet from inside, and I didn't realize it didn't have a visor. And I was on the straight and I gunned it out of turn 11. And at 90 miles an hour, of course, without a visor, it has a virtual windshield, but at 90 miles an hour, nothing could stop it. The air is going into my eyeballs, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm glad we're not going much faster. So I made the most of the corkscrew. I think in the driver's briefing, they said, do not gap the pace car, but I gapped the pace car so I could, drive as fast through the corkscrew. It was just the most fun. And when the cars come out, I promise you, if you are here at Pebble Beach, get the chance to look. And look at that, they're driving on, Bob.
Here they come. The Icona, Italian for iconic Monzas. A design influenced, we are told, by the classic Ferraris, the 166mm, the 750 Monza, the 250 Testarossa. Perhaps a car most true to the spirit of Ferrari. And in the second car, if all goes well, we will have our first chance to meet and chat with Johnny Lieberman of Motor Trend, who knows a great deal about these cars. You see the yellow numbered flags, if you will, that tell the drivers, who are mostly the owners of the cars, where to park them. Fabulous looking open cockpit machines. And I am joined now, I'm happy to say, by a true pioneer in motorsports and in automobilia generally. Lyn St. James, Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, a champion race car driver, and a longtime friend and colleague of mine. Great to see you again, Lyn.
It is great to be here. Great to be at Pebble. Great to be at this Ferrari celebration. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Now you have a brief but exciting history as a Ferrari driver.
Tiny one,
That's
yeah.
okay, that counts.
Yeah, 1979, at the 12 Hours of Sebring, I had the opportunity to race a 365 GTB Ferrari Daytona with Janet Guthrie and Bonnie Henn. We finished the race. It was all I remember, I mean not all I remember, but the most significant memory is the very last hour. I was the driver and going through those gears, where they have that notched gearbox and
H-pattern box.
Oh my God, but it was all notched, It's not like you have to remember where to go or what, but it was just perfect. It was like the car took almost 12 hours to get to me. It was really humming, And I mean, the sound, the feel, everything about it was, that's a memory I'll have forever with my Ferrari.
Now, we're going to watch the cars as they make their way onto the field, but there was something else I wanted to ask you about. You're also here on a different mission this weekend with the Shifting Gears organization that you're a part of.
I am. My friend Cindy Sisson has created this initiative for women in automotive, and so we had a great panel discussion yesterday with 4 amazing women and their histories with automobiles and racing, or even just doing rallies and all, or just owning. In fact, one of them owns, I think, the largest Porsche owner. So it's showing that women are part of this sport, part of this industry, and I know Ferrari has also got a strong initiative called High Powered. They're really focusing on women. There was a day, Bob, when I always knew every woman that was racing, and I don't know that anymore because there's so many of them, and I get to see them on podiums and in the Ferrari Challenge. Christina Nielsen actually won the GT Championship at IMSA for 2 years in a Ferrari. So, and now I'm very honored that Ferrari is supporting the Women in Motorsports Commission FIA initiative, and they've got a young gal, Maya, over there, aspirationally to get Formula One. Who knows if she actually makes it, but she's getting an opportunity to have all that absolutely significant quality training that is being provided by Ferrari through their camp.
It really is a sort of a bottom-up kind of approach to achieving the kind of diversity in terms of gender that you're looking for, instead of just trying to interest women at the top end of racing. Get them started in car ownership and car technology and everything else, and then, you know, let nature take its course as they want to get better and faster.
The best. Racing always wants the best, and so whether it's the best designer, the best engineer, the best driver, the best crew member, everything, you know, it doesn't accept mediocrity, and of course Ferrari represents the best. But to see them supporting something that, I mean, let's face it, it's mostly been a guy thing, you know, and it's just been wonderful to be able to see that, to be a part of it now through the industry. Pebble Beach invited us to have this panel yesterday. It was the first ever all-women panel, and we had a great sold-out turnout of attendees. And you know, their stories are rich. Everybody has a journey. Yep. Every driver, every owner out there in their car has a journey, and so does every woman that is in the left seat, or maybe right seat even, has a story that goes with that.
It sounds from your answers as though you feel progress is being made.
I do. It's been a long time coming. I've been working on this for a lot of decades, actually. So to see, you know, IMSA's just announced a program that a new program that's coming that hasn't been announced yet, that'll be coming up, and so the fact that the industry is now embracing it and supporting it, as opposed to me or somebody else kind of forcing it and, you know, cramming it. So it's great.
I saw recently there was an event called Pedal to the Metal up in Nashville, Tennessee, one of a series of events that bring together women and streetcars, new machinery, to familiarize with them. And forgive me if this is rude, but it kind of reminded me of women who take classes in sports like football. You know, they want to catch up. They want to see what the sizzle is. And it seemed very much like this was the kind of thing that happened at this event. Women got to be around cars, got to ask questions without being worried about, you know, asking a girl question.
Well, no, this actually was a number of events that have taken it. It's called Pedal to the Metal that Cindy Sisson's put together. And she's already reported that 99% of the women that showed up for these events have never been to a dealership, to a exclusive car dealership. And not only did they enjoy the opportunity to drive these cars, many of them are actually out buying these cars now, and the men, the husbands or significant others or friends, the male friends, were invited to attend the event at the end. But women don't want to be excluded. They want to be invited. I have this theory that women need to be invited, men just show up. You know, if there's a party, you know, seriously, if there's a party and women will say, oh, I can't go because we haven't been invited. The guys will say, hey, let's go, you know.
Crash the party.
So women are being invited to drive these cars. It's a low-pressured situation. And once you get somebody in a driver's seat, if they don't fall in love with the car, then they need to go buy, I don't know, a Volvo or something, you know. You know what I'm saying? They're in the wrong seat anyway.
Yeah.
So, and then to be able to experience Ferrari, which is the ultimate. I mean, it's one of the ultimate. And so it is. I don't know how many women. I know there have been hundreds that have actually gone through this program, and it'll continue to grow because we could take it around. She could take it around the country. So, you know, pedal to the metal, which I kind of relate to because then you can go fast.
Well. It's great talking with you again. Good luck as you continue to help women crash the party. and look forward to seeing you again. I think I'll see you in upstate New York next month.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I just can't wait to see all these cars today. So thank you. It's great to be at Pebble and great to be part of this.
Thank you. Lynn St. James. And now let's join JB with Johnny.
Well, I tell you what, Bob, the atmosphere out here as these Monzas are all joining us on the fairway here is actually quite electric. I can only imagine what it's like for the owners. But, you know, I got to drive this car yesterday, and my buddy Johnny Lieberman got to drive it today. Not quite as fast, Johnny, but get out of the car. It is such a well-proportioned car, but did you even in that little stretch get a feeling of it's singularly about you as the driver?
Yeah, there's nothing else going on. It's shocking how minimal it is, and it's weird. You can't even see the car inside the car. It's just this wonderful feeling. I don't know. It's great. You know, you want to go like to drive through wine country and smell things. You know, it's fantastic.
So one of the things to point out about the Monza is that a lot of these people, this is a car that they have many other Ferraris. So this is a car that adds to their collection. I think it's going to be an amazing investment. But when they see this car on paper, what does it mean to you when, and we're not in that position, but what do you think goes through the mind of an owner when they see the idea for a car, the concept for a car, and they have the ability to put down their deposit and get their hands on one? What are the key points for you as a car aficionado that a car like the Monza has to bring?
I think you don't want it to be like any of the others, right? You want that you know everyone wants the one of one, but a real one of one is it's a little bit more than these cost, right? But so and I think that's the reason why there's so many wonderful colors and stripes and patterns and this and that, because you're just trying to do something unique, you know. And so I think that's probably the first thing that goes through your mind. Then of course. Actually, that's the second thing. The first thing is, are you going to get the SP1 or are you going to get the SP2? I'm Camp SP1.
Are you single or are you married?
Well, I mean, are you going to pretend you have friends or not? But, you know, it's like, I'm Camp SP1 100%. Like, this is my car for me. Get your own. But, yeah, so I think that's number one. Number two is it's got to be different than my buddies because we can't have the same car, you know, so.
Well, we're going to be talking to those owners in a minute. Johnny and I are going to get out and, I mean, I just can't even imagine what it feels like to be them. Bob, this is what we waited for. It's all happening here at Casa Ferrari.
And I couldn't be more happy that it's working out the way it is. Thank you. There's a glimpse of that 1960 long wheelbase California Spider that I talked about earlier in the show. Luigi Canetti and Johnny Van Neumann, the East and West Coast Ferrari representatives, told Enzo Ferrari build an open cockpit V12 powered sports car for America. Not just for America, but for California, where they thought they would sell the most, and perhaps they did. Just an absolute classic. Lots of these Monzas on hand. And they are fabulous. What must it be like to own one of these Icona Monzas? Well, let's find out now. JB is with Lauren Mendelson.
Well, Lauren, I just saw the smile on your face as you pulled up. You looked very happy. You looked excited yesterday driving around WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, but you looked equally as excited driving onto the fairway.
I mean, honestly, when are you going to see this again? 41, is it? 41 Monzas all lined up, all different, all beautiful, all spectacular. In a row, winding through these beautiful hills. Where are you going to see that again? Maybe not right away, that's for sure.
Maybe never, and it is the largest gathering. And obviously, the other thing to mention, this is the first time that the public have actually seen the Monza, especially, I mean, not on the road, but around here. But where did the Monza journey start for you? Because, I mean, there's a point that you see the car as a potential owner, and how did that happen?
I'll tell you exactly how it happened. So our Ferrari dealer in Detroit is Jeff Cawley Ferrari, and they redid their dealership in the most spectacular way. It resembles a Frank Gehry museum, in my opinion. It's beautiful. So they had a grand opening for all the clients and other people, and Sergio Marchionne was there along with Mateo Torre and a few other guys from Italy. And we were in a group of about 6 or 8 people who were invited to come an hour early and go up into Casa Ferrari there and have just a private meeting with all those people. And so in conversation, I was talking to Sergio, and he said that they were going to be doing something special that September. And of course I said, really? Can you tell me what it is? He says, no, I can't tell you, but I'll invite you if you want to come. And I said, if you invite me, I will come. And so my husband and I went to Italy that September to the unveiling of the Monza SP1 and SP2 in Maranello, and had dinner in the factory with a bunch of other people, and the rest is history.
How fabulous. I mean, an expensive trip.
Yes, of course.
But worth it.
I walk out the front door.
Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I thought it was wonderful to see you behind the wheel. It just you radiate an energy, and this car and your color scheme, it's the silver one with the yellow stripes. It is just beautiful.
So much. Thank you.
And Johnny, I know you're with another owner somewhere up there.
I'm here with Bruce Bond, and this is his beautiful Is it French blue?
Yeah, French blue.
SP2 Monza, and so, well, first of all, it's just gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
How did you come up with the livery for this thing?
Well, I knew there were some historic Ferraris that were painted like this, and that's really what started my interest here. And then when I was overseas, I saw a Pista painted exactly like this. And really out of the crowd, it really stood out, although it really doesn't seem like a bright car. You know, it really stood out of the crowd, and I thought that would be wonderful on the Monza, and so that's how I decided to choose it.
It's great. There also happens to be a 250 GT TDF over here with the same livery. I thought it might
Which
be,
is gorgeous, yeah.
but this is not your only Ferrari here.
Right, yeah. No, I also have a black on black Enzo here.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you get the Monza. What's it like owning this thing?
Well, I love it. I mean, I think I'm very excited to have it, have an opportunity to drive it on the track here at Laguna Seca. We also, get to take it out a little bit every once in a while. I leave it in the garage and take care of it, but I do believe I'm going to have opportunities to take it overseas and drive it, as well as drive it on the track here locally. You know, I'm from the Chicagoland area, so that's what I'm hoping to be able to do with it. And, I'm just super excited about Ferrari and the Icona series and what they're doing with that and bringing back some of those beautiful designs of the past. So that's why I love this series.
But bringing them back in a really, really good way. I mean, right? I mean, so when you first saw this, when you first heard about the Monzas, what was your initial, like, gotta have it? What was your initial thought?
Oh, yeah, mine was I gotta have one of those. You see the front end of this and the lights and how the grille looks. I mean, it harkens back to those old days, and so got me very excited.
And then another question. You have a two-seater. Why not SP1?
Well, yeah, the SP1 is cool too, but when I take it out, I want someone to be able to go with me.
Okay.
And, it's more fun if you can share it. And, so it's a family affair, so I like to take someone along.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Very good. Well, enjoy it. I mean, I just drove in the number 5 there, the SP1, and it wasn't a very long drive, but I was like, I drove an 812 GTS yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
And which is great, but it's like, this really is much different.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so exciting to drive on the track over at Laguna Seca, and the car handles great, and I had a super fast as well, but it feels that much faster when you don't have a windshield and you just have the helmet on, and, it's an exhilarating experience.
Very cool. Well, Mr. Bond, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to go back to Bob.
Well, that is an absolutely outrageous color. How would you describe it?
Yes, it's a 1958 Azzurro Metallico, and it's an original color for the 58 models. So it's called a 1958 Elena. A lot of people go, what's an Elena? Well, it's a sister to the Bolano, and they made 39 Elena cars. There's about 20 in existence, and there's about 10 of those that have the original drivetrain. And this car I purchased about 5 years ago, and I did a complete restoration front to back on the car.
So leading the field, you came in just behind the leading Monzas as they came in. Coming to Pebble Beach is sort of the culmination of most people's dreams, just to be here as a fan, to walk in and see the concourse. What does it mean also when you can come in your own priceless car and be a part of something very special here at Casa Ferrari?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's like it's a bucket list thing, right? You only have a few of those in your life, and this was our dream when we started with the car, to come here and bring a car and show to the rest of the world kind of a very unique automobile. So many were destroyed, in the early days, and I think this is probably the only one that's restored to this level. And we've been Classic certified, and we just had a great journey to get here, and we appreciate being here at Pebble Beach and Classic and Ferrari. It's just been wonderful.
Well, I know your wife has already walked in there to go and enjoy the fruits of the right there. Enjoy the rest of the journey, because it all ends up at Casa Ferrari. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Bob?
All right, thanks very much, JB, and thanks to the owners who talked to us about their cars. Every story is unique and different. I am at the, let's call it the older end of the grid, with lots of 212 Vignales and 750 Mondas and so on, as I look down among the folks gathered along the fence. Now, if you're watching out on social platforms, Facebook, YouTube, the Ferrari website, where today's show will live after we're done here today, you're probably asking yourself, well, can the people get out there and get up close to these cars? And the answer is yes. As soon as the cars are in place, everybody will be invited from Casa Ferrari to step past the fence and see these beautiful creations up close. It really is stunning. And the cars continue to stream in. A good point was made there by Ed Montini, who is a good sport, and who mentioned that a lot of these cars were destroyed or driven into the ground or whatever years into their existence. Everyone little knowing that we would appreciate them so much down the road, which is why it's so great to see the survivors, if you will, here and in such great shape. That's a great tribute to the people who own and restore and love these cars. Now let's go back to Johnny.
Okay, I'm standing here with Jim Amin, who owns this. Happens to be my absolute favorite ever Ferrari, the 288 GTO. Wow. Tell me all about it.
So it's actually a very well preserved model. We believe we're the third owner. It's got about 4,400 kilometers on it.
Okay, so that's about 3,000 miles for our American friend, us.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so it's remarkably preserved. It's original paint. I've got the period tires on it, and it really hasn't been touched, the interior at all.
And when did you take possession of it?
About 4.5 years ago.
Has it always been on your radar? Because I feel like this is one of those Ferraris that did slip under the radar for a while.
The design has always been something I've been partial towards. I mean, if you look at the lines of the car, it's a very powerful but really an elegant car. So it's been on my list for a while. You know, what I like are the old supercars. So the 288 GTO is the first.
Right.
Then the F40, the F50. I've got all those cars.
Yeah, and I think it's funny, a lot of people don't know how related to the F40 this one is. You know, they sort of see it as like a 328, and it's not.
Not at all.
So what's it like to drive this? It's one of the few Ferraris I sadly haven't driven. What's it like?
So it's a twin turbo. It's got a little bit of lag, but when you get the RPMs up, it really goes quickly.
That's fantastic.
Beautifully, very compliant suspension, and the transmission's pretty smooth.
Oh, that's great. Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and I love your car. Thank you.
Really nice meeting you. Take care.
All right, thank you, Johnny. Now let's jump to the current state of Ferrari. We've talked about the 296 GTB plug-in hybrid designed by Chief Ferrari Design Officer Flavio Manzoni. And if you go to the Ferrari website, you'll find a lengthy video of Signore Manzoni speaking in Italian, describing the car, the Ferrari Roma in this case. And as you see, with a basic pen, I believe that's the classic French Bic, and he turns out this absolutely fabulous freehand drawing of yet another breathtaking Ferrari creation. It's really worth a visit if you have 7 or 8 minutes to spend. And we're happy to say that Mr. Manzoni is with us this weekend, and Justin is with him.
Well, Flavio, it's an honor to have you here. It's very nice to be. Thanks for the invitation to be in your house, so to speak, today. I mean, obviously, we have to start with the car behind us. I mean, it's just stunning. The 296 GTB, I mean, it captures everyone's vision the minute they walk in. You're so involved with this car. What's it like for you when you walk to Pebble Beach and you see it in the flesh here in front of all these people?
It's beautiful because it's like a baby, you know, when it's born. It's like a baby. It's I mean, I'm very proud about this car because we worked a lot to get this, I think, beautiful proportions. The car looks very compact thanks to the short wheelbase. This is the main objective that we had on this project. In order to get the best fun to drive, that means also the smile on our let's say clients. And this is very good also for the design because we could work on a, let's say, on a package which is very good in terms of proportions and equilibrium. So, and then we wanted to have a very clean design, the most pure shape, a little bit like the Monza, the Roma. So this is the vision that we have now. So we want to have a beautiful sculpture with beautiful proportions, and I mean, I think the car is a beautiful mix between elegance and sportiness.
For me, something that Ferrari has always done is it looks like the bodywork is like muscles on a, you know, over an animal's body. You know, it's ready to pounce. It's ready to move. It's ready to and a real Ferrari looks like it's moving when it's even stationary.
This was one of the objectives. We say acquattato means an animal which is ready to, you know, to to attack.
Yes.
So, but very beautiful in terms of proportions and also formal language, because we don't want to talk about muscles. This is not the topic, but the elegance of the shape, the treatments, and this is all about it.
Yeah. You as a designer I'm sure you draw inspiration from architecture, from art, from decades. But when you're at something like Pebble Beach and you can see literally the history of the automobile in one place, does it inspire you in every way to help Ferrari keep designing beautiful cars?
Yes, of course. The legacy of a brand is always very important, and you can see also on this car how many elements are, let's say, inspired by the tradition. But I don't want to talk about tradition, because we have always to look forward and to create something which is really innovative. Nevertheless, we have to think about the formal language, let's say the linguistic codes of a brand, and I think this car, and like the Monza, for example, talks about this specific way to communicate, because form is also communication. It's a form of communication. There are many, let's say, symbolic aspects that are really represented by this form, by the formal language, let's say the lexicon of a Ferrari, which is amazing because it's the fruit of many years of, let's say, creative research.
Yeah. I drove the Monza yesterday, and it was the first time I saw it in person, and to see it and walk around the car was one experience. To get into the driver's seat was the second experience. And when you sit there and you realize, yes, you in the SP2 you have a passenger, but they're in another world. It's for me the driver.
This is the perfect representation of the symbiosis between the man and the machine, the human and the machine. So this was the intention, the aim of the project, to be part of the machine, completely involved.
And, you know, it's so funny because, you know, I know we live in a world where we have many legislations and many restrictions for design, but Ferrari you guys manage to always push forward with the pure spirit of Ferrari, which I know is not easy, because it's a combination, a symbiosis between engineering and design. It's a challenge, but it's a fight that Ferrari seems to win.
It's more and more complex, as you can imagine, and you know it very well, because the rules of the homologation are becoming more and more difficult. But I think we manage it, because in the end I think that all the constraints can be an opportunity to make something different, something with a specific personality. And every time we start a new project, the base is this, all the, let's say, technical aspects, engineering aspects that are defining the product. And the shape must be consistent with that.
It has been a pleasure. To talk to a car designer for me is one of the pure pleasures of being in this business, because we have our own ideas of how things evolve, but when we speak to you, we understand that you have the real picture. Thank you so much, sir. It's been amazing.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Now we can enjoy Casa Ferrari. Enjoy yourself. I'm going to throw it down to Johnny, who is out there with more of the owners.
Okay, thanks a lot, Justin. I'm standing here with Dennis and Sue Garrity, and they have an incredibly special Ferrari, and it's a little bit older than the Monza I drove in. And could you tell us all about it?
Oh gosh, where do we begin? Well, this is a 1952 Ferrari 342 America by Thenali, Speciale Cabriolet. They built 6 342 Americas. The first one to be bodied was this one by Thenali. And there's only 3 cabriolets of the 6. This is one of the cabriolets. The other 5 were all bodied by Pininfarina. So this is a completely unique car. It was bespoke construction for Enzo Ferrari's good friend out of Wild of Muri, Switzerland. So only the most elite customers of Ferrari were able to acquire these 6 cars, including people like King Leopold of Belgium, for example. So this car is pretty special. It's the only one in the world. We acquired it 4 years ago, did a complete comprehensive restoration of the car, and as part of that, a very, very thorough research to try and find all the aspects of the car so we can make it completely original. So this is the result of that.
And I'm sorry to cut you off. I was going to go to Sue because she was telling me something pretty special happened to the car yesterday.
Yes, it actually won the Ferrari class at Quail. We're really feel privileged that happened. Something else notable about the car is it has a racing engine. So the chassis number is even numbered. All the racing cars have even numbered chassis. So even though it's a touring car, it has an even number because of the Lampredi engine.
Was that something when you set out to do the restoration of a car like this, is like winning a really prestigious event like the Quail? Is that something in the back of your head, or you just doesn't matter, you just restore it for the sake of it's a beautiful car?
Well, that's the frosting on the cake. You do it because you love the car, you love the journey, you love the research, you love owning a very, very special car. If you get recognition, that's just a nice little extra layer. But one of our goals is to have the car that there's the best of the best, which is the 9 most prestigious concours in the world. We've done 7 so far. We have 2 left to do, Goodwood and Hampton Court over in Europe. This car's been in Europe now, done several shows there, but we feel pretty good because we've won our class in the last 5 of the best. So we feel pretty good about that.
That's pretty good. And you're talking about maybe the Goodwood revival?
Yeah, that's one we haven't done yet, but we've done Cavallino and got our class just recently, Amelia Island, Salon Privé, Chantilly, and now Quail yesterday.
And Villa d'Este and Pebble Beach, of course.
Did those as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good track record there. Anyways, an absolutely stunning, beautiful Ferrari, and I'm glad that you put the effort in to take something that's so historic and significant and actually do a service to it like this. I think it's fantastic.
We appreciate it. Yeah, it's been our pleasure to do that, and been quite an enjoyable and gratifying journey for us.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and enjoy it. All right, back to you, Bob.
All right, thanks very much, Johnny. And as you may have seen, more cars continue to pull onto the first fairway here. Plenty more to come. And then it'll be turn for all of us to get out there and have a closer look. Now let's rejoin Justin Bell.
Hey, so I've just caught up with Johnny Cabriolet, who actually, Tommy. I remember Tommy from when he was doing, I've seen you out in Ferraris out at Laguna Seca before. Yesterday morning, Challenge Days. Now, seeing you out there yesterday morning in this, it must have been still a thrill, even though you've been around there faster, just to be out there in the new Monza.
Just having open wheel is fantastic, having your head exposed, basically. Well, it wasn't the fastest speeds we were going, but it was definitely a hell of an experience. It was great. It was amazing.
I mean, the color is outrageous. You say it's what do you call it?
Rosso Magma. So it sounds exactly what it's like. It's a lava-esque color, triple layer paint. It looks different in all sorts of shades and light, and yeah, it's just a beautiful color.
So Pebble Beach, I mean, this is the mecca for car lovers. It doesn't matter what brand you're associated with, you just come to Pebble Beach, you feel like alive, but you also feel connected to the past. When you look at the old cars, you realize that this will be one of the classics in another 50 years, yeah?
Yes, no question about it. This is not only a tribute to one of the iconic cars from the past, no pun intended, I guess, with the name, but I think this will be regarded as the spectacle classic car from Ferrari.
Yeah, and obviously seeing this many come together, that's a pretty special thing. Casa Ferrari, what is it about Ferrari that makes the aficionados, the fans, get so involved? Because it's more than just you buying a car, it's a lifestyle.
It's more than just the brand, and me and Enrico were just talking about it. We want to say it's the community that that this brand has brought everybody together, and it's really become a family. So outside of Pebble Beach, outside of the car fanatics, you have this inclusive family that Ferrari's created, and I think it's great. I think it's spectacular.
Tommy, go and enjoy the rest of the day. Really fun. Thank you so much, Bob.
All right, thanks, JB. and the hits just keep on coming. Fabulous cars, lovingly preserved, lovingly owned and driven. As you've heard, it's going to be a great afternoon here at Pebble Beach as these Ferraris make their way onto the show field. Untold pictures to be taken and memories to be relived year after year. If you have the chance, Pebble Beach and certainly Casa Ferrari should be on your to-do list. How about that? Pontoon fendered 750 Monza, I believe. I'm an enthusiast, not an expert. Then somewhere out there is a car we really want to show you, if we can locate it in good time. Every kid should have a Ferrari, and there is a Testarossa Jr. out there. You heard from Bruce Bond earlier with Johnny, and his son will be driving it. It'll be on every young driving dreamer's Christmas list, you can be sure. Everybody being very careful about getting these cars into position without damaging anything or anyone. And as the show continues, let's rejoin Justin Bell.
Well, it's pretty hard to know where to look next. Just look at these cars being brought onto the fairway here. I mean, they're still parked, as you can see, all the way over the crest there. The owners very patiently waiting for their chance to make their way onto the green. But let's just stroll over here and look at this race Ferrari that I've noticed over here. One of the beautiful things about Pebble Beach, literally, even though I saw the list of cars that were coming on here, I had no clue what they would actually look like when they appear in the flesh. And you know, I often think every car has a story. Obviously, every car has its history, and if we could only capture that and sort of be able to replay it in modern days, it would be even better. But instead, we have to rely on the owners to track that lineage and keep, you know, the provenance of a car is what counts. But I mean, just look at this. Just I love looking at this Dino. Look through the window there, Jordan. Just have a look at the top. That is absolutely mind-blowing. How beautiful the car is. Thank you. Can we have a quick chat about it while we're here?
This car raced in 1967. It raced in the Sebring. I think it finished 49th. It had some suspension problems because the track is really bad, and so a lot of suspension, but it still finished. And then in 1967, Nürburgring on the practice run, Jean Guichet was driving it. Engine fire, spilled fuel onto the engine, and the thing caught fire. And it's all over. The photographs are all over the internet. Caught fire, and then it was bought by Pierre Bardinon, who's the greatest Ferrari collector in the world. You know this stuff, okay? And then it went to Italy, and it got restored, and it got raced with a Tasman engine, and it raced in Italy for many, many years, and then it was owned and bought by Bernie Carl. Then Chris Cox owned it twice. You know Chris Cox? Yeah, totally. And then I bought it, and then I said, okay, I want to Classic A it, right? Yeah. And they're like, nope, can't Classic A it, because, you know, it was been in a fire, da-da-da. So we got Italy to come from Ferrari, and they did 100 samples of metal spectrometry. They scraped pieces off the chassis, proved that it was the real car from the race, proved that it was the same composition, and it was in a fire because the metal gets cold hardened from the composition of the metal. So they proved that it was what it was. And let's see, you want a video of this, right? Anyway, and then basically we had a 6-year challenge to deal with the Classic A situation, and finally it was decided that only Ferrari would do it in Italy. They wouldn't allow anybody else to touch the car. It's an important part of their history. We got letters from Enzo Ferrari and Scuderia Filippino. Actually, what happened is the car was too slow. So Filippinetti wrote him a letter. I have the letter to show you. He says, what the hell, you tell me this car is too slow? And he says, very diplomatic, Ferrari writes him back a letter, and that says, you know what? I think we're going to take you off the team. We don't need this anymore. So anyway, they went back and forth, but then they put a fuel injection in the car, and it did well. And that's the history.
Well, look at it now. It is absolutely spectacular. But I'm going to ask you a question. As one of the guys owners that's here in something that embodies the best of Ferrari's past, what is it like for you when you look at those Monzas and you realize that that DNA, that history, that ability that Ferrari has to capture what makes you tick in your heart? What's it like when you look at the Monzas?
So it's an interesting thing because you can look at the shape of these cars, and you look at the Monza, and it really brings back the curves, right? They're moved away from the square boxes, and it really captures the lines of this car, and they brought it into the Monza, and I think that is a beautiful recreation of what's happening in the old vintage cars.
Well, it's a pleasure talking to you. Enjoy it. Go to Casa Ferrari and enjoy everything that's on offer. You're a beautiful car, and thank you for bringing it, Bob.
All right, thanks very much, Justin. I could be mistaken, but I think our old friend and colleague David Hobbs once raced a car like that. Not necessarily that Dino, but one like it in one of his many, many trips to Le Mans. But just, again, one of the stories of which there are so many of these cars that have been in one ownership throughout its life, or perhaps passed through the hands of many loving owners, collectors, restorers, and historians. One thing we can hope for every single one of them is that they were used and enjoyed. No trailer queens. The field continues to fill, and the cars will sit here for some time while all the fans get a chance to go out and see them up close. Quite a jigsaw puzzle to put together with more than 80 cars. Remember, I said at the beginning of the show, the plan was originally for about 40. But so great was the outpouring of interest, and the demand for an opportunity. And what an opportunity as an owner to have your car out here on the fairways on Pebble Beach weekend, to share it with so many fellow Ferrari owners. My favorite color back there, fly yellow. And now let's join Johnny over on the first tee.
No, we're not moving. Are we moving? Hey, I'm standing in front of the new Ferraris, including the incredible SF90. That is the 987 horsepower second hybrid Ferrari, first since the LaFerrari. 3 motors, absolutely incredible. I've been lucky enough to drive this thing pretty extensively. 0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds. It's nuts. The blue one that Justin was driving, one of these around yesterday, F8 Spider. So, you know, Ferrari F8, but the top goes down pretty good. Just kidding, it's fantastic. The car I'm most excited about, though, and I think everybody who loves, well, Ferraris and cars and V12s and all that stuff. This is the 812 Competizione. It could be the very last completely naturally aspirated Ferrari ever. Certainly the last V12. And so they took the 812 super fast, which has a V12 that revs up to 9,000 RPM. They made this one go to 9,500 RPM. It makes more power. It's gorgeous. Doesn't even have a window in the back. I mean, come on. It's fantastic. And yeah, it's just, I'm dying to drive this thing. Coming soon. But yeah, so these are the new Ferraris, and this is the daddy. This is the one. This is the one that's gonna maybe take us out of the gasoline era and, you know, into the electric era. And yeah, so I'm excited. And I'm gonna go ahead and go back to Bob now. And thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Johnny. It's high praise if it's pretty good. It takes a team. We've got a great one here at Pebble Beach. There is a theme to the parking skeleton, if you will, the diagram, which car goes where, to make a logical order, old to new, convertibles, coupes. Enzo's rolling in. Is that yellow car an Enzo? I can't see it quite clearly. It's like a Ferrari Daytona behind it, perhaps. I don't know. You can drive yourself crazy trying to name as many Ferrari models as we have out here in this core of 80 plus. Think of all the designers, all the craftsmen in the factories, but not just at Ferrari proper, but Pininfarina, the Scaglietti, as that luscious bodywork was imagined and then crafted to create these cars, so much a part of history, so much a part of the dreams of car lovers everywhere. And it's such a privilege to be here. Now let's join JB with another classic Ferrari and its family.
Well, sometimes Ferraris can be, well, a lot of the time, a family affair. That's why we're at Casa Ferrari. Dimitri, you just turned up with your whole family here.
Did, yes.
In a Ferrari Mondial. That makes you a truly unique player on the field today.
Well, it's really fun. We love the Mondial because it's the only Ferrari that could fit our whole family of four, and that was part of what was very important to us, to have a mid-engine V8 Ferrari that the whole family can enjoy and be part of the Ferrari family.
Well, I saw you pulling onto the field, and you know it's hard to stand out when it's just the most beautiful cars. In Pebble Beach, everything is beautiful.
Yes.
So just driving on, did you just feel like it was, I mean, for your kids, it must have been like for you, a dream realized to come here with your car and drive onto the fairway?
That's such the right word, a dream. You know, Enzo talked about that some people only dream of having a Ferrari and some fortunate few do, and we feel very blessed to be able to have that and be a part of that family. And the whole Ferrari experience is just fantastic, and the cars are lovely too. So.
Well, I'm going to ask you, you two, so who's going to be the first one who's going to get to drive the car?
Alexandra will, since she's 2 years older than me, so she actually already did drive her Ferrari for her. When she was first driving her car, she decided she wanted to use the Ferrari for her to first drive.
Well, I'm very proud. You're the one that took the reins. It is a beautiful car, and when you stand here, does it make you want to have your own Ferrari one day?
Yes, definitely. It's a beautiful car, and I love the Ferraris, all of them, and especially I think that the vintage cars make it a little special instead of having a part of the history. So it's very interesting to see all of them.
One day you're going to get my job. You're so good. What a proud mummy there. Well, go into the Casa Ferrari. Enjoy every single moment. You've deserved it, and thanks for waiting in the line.
Thank you.
This is it. This is what Ferrari's all about, the camaraderie. Bob?
All right, thanks, JB. And here's my confession. If I imagine myself buying a Ferrari, I don't think seeing the kids in the back seat would have been my highest priority, but that's just me. We could go on forever here at Pebble Beach, but there are time limitations, and we hope you've enjoyed all there is to see as it's unfolded before our eyes, and the fabulous history and style and innovation and performance that is synonymous with the Ferrari. It's time for final thoughts, and for that, let's join Johnny Lieberman.
I'm wrapping up this incredible moment here with Ferrari today at Casa Ferrari here at Monterey Car Week at Pebble Beach, and I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, you know, driving the Monza, you know, even though I don't know what I was expecting, but those expectations were just shattered. One of the very coolest Ferraris ever made, but then as soon as I was done having that thought, an F40 pulled up, and then there was an F50, and then there's this 1952 Vignale, and it's overwhelming. That's my final thought. I'm just overwhelmed. If you are into Ferraris, this is without question the place to be. This is the event to be at. This is the moment. I'll just never forget this as long as I'm able to remember things. So anyhow, thanks again for the opportunity, and I'll throw it back to you, Bob.
Well, thank you, Johnny. Those are great words, but I'll tell you what, standing here, I'm trying to soak it all in. We've had an amazing show and talked to some incredible people, and it's sometimes hard to separate, you know, the cars from the stars, but when you're out here and you see the beautiful Monzas, the legacy of all the finest cars from Ferrari's heritage, you realize this is so much more than just a car event. You realize this is a lifestyle for so many people, and just being this close to it, seeing the Monzas coming, getting the chance to drive, and meeting these incredible people who, even though they've achieved incredible things in life, I'm sure today they're just like a young boy or girl looking at the poster of their dream car up on the wall, and today that dream's come true. So thank you very much, Ferrari, for inviting us all along, and definitely on behalf of Talk Media Group, thank you so much for allowing us to have the privilege of hosting this live stream. Bob, it's been a special day.
That it has, Justin. I couldn't agree more. And I'll add my thanks to the powers that be for the opportunity to get back outside in the fresh air, the sunlight when it's here, the rain when it falls, just to be a part of the car world that has been so much a part of me for the last 40 years. And I'm sure Johnny and JB and probably everyone you see down there on the show field feels the same way. So the folks here at Casa Ferrari will be out there checking out the cars, enjoying food and drink as the Car Week at Monterey reaches its climax. Today, Concorso Ferrari 2021. Tomorrow, Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Don't miss it. And for now, for Johnny Lieberman and Justin Bell, I'm Bob Varsha. Have a great weekend, and so long from the Monterey Peninsula.